Am I the asshole for declining to invite a woman who has called herself a total klepto into my home? I joined a women's social club 6 months ago because I've been struggling to make friends after relocating to a new-to-me city. It took me a while to warm up to the group and to connect with people I actually had anything in common with. I had to wade through a lot of Botox parties and boozy brunches to find things I was interested in. But I did, and I started coming to group events fairly often. I hang out most often with the women who like to read, do crafty things, bake, skywatch, etc. Among these women is one, I'll call her Andea, who has made several comments about how she's a total klepto. I think that she makes these comments to seem cool to the other people in the group. I reached out to some of the women I see regularly at these events and invited them over to my place to watch a TV show we've been talking about and do crafty stuff. They were excited and agreed to come. Unfortunately, Andrea found out, I assume someone asked if she was going, and reached out to me to ask if she was invited. I considered this for a bit and then told her no, as I only had so much room at home. She didn't believe me and asked me for the real reason, saying, I thought we got along, which yes, is true. I told her I'm not comfortable inviting a kleptomaniac into my home. That I've worked hard to have the things I have and it would be stupid for me to invite her knowing that she openly brags about it. She said, okay, very quietly. She then said, you're painting me out to be some horrible criminal when you don't even know anything about me. I said that her being proud to call herself a klepto was all I needed to know. She said that I was a high school mean girl and ableist. I am unsure what the foundation for that statement is. This unfortunately has spilled over to the group, which is frustrating. But what has me the most surprised is that there are so many people defending her and telling me that I'm out of touch and take things too literally. Am I? Not the asshole. Being a thief isn't the same as being a kleptomaniac or a klepto. One of the key factors of diagnosing kleptomania, which is a legit rare mental health disorder, is the roller coaster of emotions about the theft. A kleptomaniac will not tell virtual strangers that they have stolen because the shame is physically painful to them. Andrea is the ableist for rebranding kleptomania to justify her poor behavior. Not the asshole. I said that her being proud to call herself a klepto was all I needed to know. Great response. ETA. I assume she meant you're ableist because she sees her kleptomania as a disease. She is toxic. I had a girl in my sorority describe herself as a self-diagnosed klepto, and that, if she saw something she liked, she just couldn't help herself, be it something at a store, on campus, or in possession of one of us. After she took it, it became her property, and heaven forbid you try to get your things back. I refused to associate with her outside of meetings. I never hung out with her, let her in my car or dorm room, never let her near my purse or jacket in group settings. She cried that I was a bully. People like them are always going to play victim. I'm very glad you're keeping your boundaries. Not the asshole. Those defending her are more than welcome to have Klepto Andy in their houses. I'd say no too. She isn't entitled to an invite to your home, no matter her circumstances. People who make these comments have to learn there are consequences to their behaviors, even if she is exaggerating the issue. You aren't an ableist or high school mean girl for protecting your property. Not the asshole. She shouldn't be bragging about being a thief if she doesn't want people worried that she'll steal from them. Common sense. Not the asshole. A word of advice. If anyone brags about or claims being a bad person, you should always believe them and act accordingly. If she didn't want to be treated like Atha, she shouldn't have been bragging about being a thief. If she was actually lying and wanting to sound cool, that's her problem. Am I the asshole for telling my supervisor that coworkers' comments about my weight made me upset? I, 27 female, told my supervisor that coworkers' comments about my weight had been upsetting me. For context, I have gained weight because I was extremely underweight and am now at a healthy weight. The first comment was a middle-aged male telling me I got fat. He backpedaled when I made a face saying that he meant it in a good way because I was too skinny before. But then continued asking if he was right, asking if I did gain weight. Then another middle-aged male coworker pointed at me and brought his hands up to his mouth to mimic eating and then spread his arms out wide to indicate a wide body. I ended up telling my supervisor because I don't think it's right for anyone to be making comments about anyone's body. What if I was recovering from an eating disorder or something? She was appalled and brought it to my manager, who said it was disgusting and that no one should be made uncomfortable at work. So I figured I did the right thing. Until I told my dad and he said that I shouldn't have done that because it's like tattletaling like a child and that now the coworkers will have animosity against me. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. The best thing to do is respond right away to the person who actually said the inappropriate things. Say, why are you commenting on my body? Or, I am not going to discuss my body health with you. Not the asshole. Your dad may be from a generation where men got away with this type of behavior and he hasn't grown with the times. It's disturbing that, as a father, he thinks you should accept this. If he doesn't feel protective over you, I dread to think of how he treats his female coworkers. Not the asshole, ignore your dad because I'm sorry, he's probably someone who comments about people's bodies at work. Glad you have management that will listen to your concerns. Not the asshole, your dad is a card-carrying member of the old boys club. No one should ever comment on your weight ever. Look them dead in the eye and say, "That's a really odd thing to say out loud," embarrass them back. "Don't you think that's a little personal? Did you mean to be so rude? And, I'm going to forget you said that." Not the asshole, please ask your dad. I just noticed it, are you going bald? Combine this with a vague gesture towards the top of your head, that spot no one can ever see on their own body, not even with the help of a mirror. Walk away. If you feel kind, you can tell him after a few days that you were joking. But I would let him freak out for a long time. Not the asshole. This is bullying says a lot about your dad, he doesn't think you should have done anything about it. Am I the asshole for not going on family vacation? I, 33 female, am the only single, childless person in my family. My siblings are in relationships and have kids. We're planning family vacation and discussing sleeping situations and cost for the cabin we'll share this summer. I would have to share a room with my parents. I don't really mind sharing but would love to have my own space. Unfortunately, that isn't possible where we vacation. Cost is cabin plus pet fee, divided by couple, but they want me to pay the same amount they're paying. Considering it's just me and I won't have my own space for my only vacation of the year, I don't think I should have to pay the same amount as everyone else. I could go have a quiet vacation solo for the same price. They'll also calculate food cost and divide it evenly. I'm truly not asking for a big discount lol. Most of my family isn't chiming in, but a couple of them are saying, "That's not how it works in the real world." When I've said I don't believe that's fair. Am I the asshole for telling them I don't want to go? More context. I work with kids and do not get PTO. I have chronic pain and get overstimulated quickly, so I'm always disappearing for a bit to reset myself mentally during family functions. I'm also the only person that doesn't drink and I'm kind of an outsider in my family because of that and political views, so there tends to be a lot of what feels like them ganging up on me. I've been told, "We do it every day, it's your turn," in regards to taking care of the kids numerous times at gatherings. My response is always that I would have kids if I wanted to do it every day. They seem to think I don't deserve to relax because I've decided not to have children. I hate missing out on time with the kids, but know I would 100% end up taking care of them, all under 3 yo. While the rest of the adults drink, and it wouldn't be much of a vacation for me. I didn't go last year for this reason. Let me see if I have this right. You're sharing a room with your parents, but you're paying the same as everyone else. You're expected to take a turn babysitting, but you don't have any kids. Not sure about this one. Food costs are divided evenly per family? Which means you're paying the same for one person as your parents are for two, your siblings are for 2 plus kids. Or per person, you often feel ganged up on. Boy, I would be running so far in the opposite direction that I'd leave skid marks on the ground. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. This doesn't sound like much of a vacation at all. How it works in the real world is that people get to choose and you can just choose not to subsidize their accommodation cost. At the very least, accommodation costs should be split by bedroom, not by person, couple. But beyond all that, if these trips don't make you happy, then don't go. Family obligation goes both ways, and if they won't meet you in the middle, then don't martyr yourself. A couple of them are saying, "That's not how it works in the real world." That's exactly how it works in the real world. They're trying to subsidize the cost of everything at your expense. Don't give in. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You wouldn't pay to eat at a restaurant only to find you're expected to do the cooking, serving and washing up. If they want a vacation from their children, they should pay a nanny, or leave them behind. Y'all know how it works in the real world. I pay my share. You pay for what you can afford and don't drag in other people to subsidize your vacations. These are the same assholes who order lobster then split the check. Not the asshole. Stay home. Save your money. If you go, they are just going to use you as a free babysitter while they smash beer cans against their foreheads. Am I the asshole for calling my wife in public in front of strangers? So I'm American and I live in Hanoi and my wife is Vietnamese. We got married last year, and while I still can't speak Vietnamese, I do know some basics. Especially knowing Vo is wife and Chong is husband. When we are out with close friends or family, everyone knows we're married, but most of the time when we would be out together in front of strangers, she always just called me Ban, which means friend. I wondered why she wasn't calling me her husband, so I asked her. She told me it was cause she didn't want to, which immediately made me feel like she was embarrassed of me, which in turn made me feel bad about myself. So I started calling her my wife in public as a habit, and she kept getting upset when I would do it but wouldn't tell me why, besides she didn't like it. This went on for about a month or so until she finally told me the real reason she didn't like it. I am not sure if I am just ignorant of Vietnamese culture, but times when strangers, especially other men, realized I was her husband, they would always say, in Vietnamese, so I never knew, rude dirty things like how do I compare sexually compared to Vietnamese, aka my size, is she a gold digger for marrying me, or why does she feel the need to date outside her race? Once she told me this, I felt horrible for bringing this up and told her if I knew I would have said something to them. But she doesn't want that either because it's so taboo to talk bad about elders here even if they're rude. I don't agree, but I try to understand her point of view. Was I the asshole for wishing my wife called me her husband in public? Not the asshole, but damn, this is one of those situations where cultural differences can really throw you for a loop. I totally get why you'd feel a bit hurt at first. If my partner is calling me friend in public, I'd be like, wait, what? Am I just your buddy now? But once she explained the context, it makes a lot more sense. The crap she's dealing with from strangers sounds absolutely awful, and I don't blame her for wanting to avoid it altogether. Not the asshole, but you two need to communicate better. Nah, not talking about things to avoid conflict is deeply ingrained in some people because of A. Cultural norms and or B. Their gender. That seems to be the case with your wife. You, on the other hand, seem to have strongly contradictory beliefs based on our westernized values. For your marriage to thrive, the two of you need to figure out a way to work past this communication barrier. As regards the immediate issue of being called wife, husband in public, I'd recommend that, when in Vietnam, do as the Vietnamese do. The social forces on her are simply too great for you, who don't even fully know the language, to do as you please and then leave her to clean up your mess. Maybe in a few years, but now. Bon appetit, this is taste of racism. Yes, Asians can be racist by proxy. You are white, but she owns the shame. You said you live there, it can't be your first rodeo with cultural differences. You are not asshole, just need to wake up from denial. Ask your wife, if one of these men who say these things to you overheard someone say similar things to their wives, how would they react? From a culture standpoint, what would be the common reaction to a man hearing another man speak to his wife so disrespectful and vulgar? But on a more important side note, learn her language. You live there, are married to a local, and may one day have children if you don't already. Learn the language. Then you won't need someone to translate the statement, you will not disrespect my wife like that again. I'm Vietnamese and my husband is white, and I call my husband as my husband when I'm out and face strangers. You should probably learn some Vietnamese since you're living there. No one has ever asked me about my husband's size or if I'm a gold digger, that's rude AF. I don't know who's comfortable asking her these things, but strangers do not ask me these things. Learn the language so she's not playing you.